PAX Arena Invitational Final between Sentinels and Cloud9 was always going to be a close matchup. Coming into the series, VLR.GG had them ranked as the second and third best teams in North America respectively. With the way the map picks lined up, be that by design or not, Split was going to be the fourth map played in this best of 5 series. This gave Sentinels a very clear win condition: win the series on or before this map. This is due to their sheer dominance on this map, with an impressive 100% competitive win ratio on Split from 5 games. What makes this even more important is the fact that Cloud9 have struggled on Split, only winning 43% of their appearances. Arguably, coming into the game, Sentinels would have been the favourites, but only by a small margin. They had a better overall win ratio coming in, and Cloud9 would have had their loss against Sentinels in the group stages in the backs of their minds. In this video, we will be analysing what, in my opinion, was the most pivotal map for Sentinels in their bid to win their first big tournament. This was map 3, Bind. I think it was such an important moment for both teams, especially with Sentinels taking map 1, Ascent, and Cloud9 taking map 2, Haven. It was almost a given that Sentinels would win map 4, Split, and so if they wanted to win, they either needed to win map 3 on Bind, or map 5, which was Haven again. There was a lot of pressure on Sentinels here, because I doubt they wanted to take it to map 5, especially after Cloud9 took them apart on Haven earlier in the series. This map was pretty much a must-win for both teams if they wanted to go on and win the series. Coming into the match then, let's take a look at how each side lined up. Sentinels began on the attack side with Sinatra on Phoenix, Shazam on Sova, Zoms on Brimstone, Dapper on Cypher, and Sick on Sage. Cloud9 on the other hand had Tens on Raze, Mitch on Sage, Relics on Brimstone, Shinobi on Sova, and Vice on Cypher. There's not really too much to say about these comps. They're fairly standard, with most players playing their main agent. I did think it was interesting that Cloud9 decided to have Tens on Raze instead of his preferred Jet. However, they do seem to prefer to take Raze when playing on Bind, and Tens has shown he's more than comfortable playing Raze. Now, I'm not going to analyse the whole match, as we'll be here for a long time. What I want to delve into is some rounds that I thought were crucial towards Sentinel's win. Sentinels started the game very poorly, losing the first 4 rounds in a row, putting them at a major disadvantage in terms of economy. The first round that we will analyse is round 5. This is the turning point of the game for me, as it's when the balance begins to shift in Sentinel's favour away from Cloud9. Sentinels are obviously on the attack, and decide to attempt and execute onto B site. It's imperative that they win this round, as it's their last opportunity to full buy before they would have to eco again. Sentinels begin their round 5 offense in a standard 1-3-1 on B long, outside of hooker and up short. They initially send a shock dart outside the A site teleporter to sort of fake towards A site. Bizarrely, Cloud9 initially set up with 4 players on A site. I'm not sure if this was a mistake, or whether it was a specific read that they had against Sentinels, but it seems like an error to me, as B site is much harder to retake than A on Bind, and so I would have thought they might have preferred to hold B a little stronger and rotate around to A if necessary. Sentinels then begin their attack on B site, with Vice just rotating in time to help defend. Sentinels are looking to send 3 players through hooker, and 2 up B long with the Owl drone. Sinatra flashes his team into hooker, which then alerts Relics, who is waiting on site, with him subsequently smoking hooker window and garden to delay the push and allow his team to rotate to support him. Dapper cybercages site and hooker window, which is when the execute starts, as Shazam and Sick have now made it to the top of B long and they're into garden. Zoms uses his smokes to obscure the vision from the 2 entry points to the site, the elbow and B hall areas. Sentinels couple this initial smoke control of site with Sinatra's ultimate on Phoenix. They use his ultimate to take complete control of the site, risk-free, with Sinatra pushing through Dapper's cyber cages and Zom's smokes into the back area of site and the hall. Interestingly, Sinatra throws his hot hands into the hall area, not only to control this part of the map and prevent a push, but also to heal himself when he pushes in, which I thought was a quite clever play. As he pushes backwards, he picks up a kill onto Tens, who had pushed through the smoke. Sinatra doesn't quite make it into the hall area of B site before his ultimate runs out. However, he's definitely done his bit to help his team control the site and begin their execute. Whilst this is happening, Sick has dropped his barrier orb in the entrance to the site from elbow, blocking Relic's path to retake the site. This forces Cloud9 to either wait for the barrier to fall, destroy the barrier, or try and push through the other entrance from Hall. At this point, Sentinels have complete control of B site, all covering multiple angles between them, and they really have the site on lock. There is some great explosive coordination here to end the round. Sentinels knew at least one player was Elbow, so as soon as the wall was about to drop, Zoms sends his orbital strike into Elbow, which picks up a kill onto the weakened Shinobi, and forces Relics to push onto site away from the ultimate, or he loses his life, into the waiting arms of Sick, who is covering that specific angle. Zoms and Sinatra combine well to take out Vice and Mitch, who tried to push the site from the doorway, ultimately resulting in a flawless round win, and a good beginning to righting their damaged economy from their 4-round loss streak. The round immediately after this round was another loss for Sentinels, which again put their economy in a very precarious position, even more so as they are without the loss streak bonus. Round 7 will be the next round we analyse, as this is another crucial round in the context of the economy. If Sentinels win, Cloud9 will still mostly be able to full buy, however if Sentinels lose, they will be forced to eco. Sentinels begin round 7 with a 1-2-2 formation, with one player pressuring Hooker, and the others pressuring A Short and Showers. In the previous round, Mitch decided to get aggressive with the operator in Showers, which caught Sentinels out, as he normally plays up B long. I think Sentinels sending more players to Showers this round could be an attempt to counteract this play from Mitch. Cloud9 send a recon dart up A Short, and spot nobody, and so they decide to rotate 2 of the 3 players away from A site, and leave Tens to hold it there alone, fairly passively from heaven. I think this was a big mistake from Cloud9. They were far too eager to rotate a lot of their players away after sending a singular recon dart up A Short and not seeing anyone, with no other information. Maybe they should have only rotated 1 player towards B instead of 2. Zoms again smokes the 2 defender-sided entry points to the site, Heaven and Metal, to delay a Cloud9 push back onto the site. Sentinels quickly push onto site after seeing that the front side of the site is clear using an Aldrone, and immediately plant behind the truck. Now that they have control of site, they start to set up their defense against the retake, holding defensive angles against any incoming Cloud9 pushers. Sentinels hear Mitch teleport from B site, and so Shazam holds an angle on the teleporter with his recon dart and manages to get the kill on Mitch. Sentinels then effectively cut the site in half, blocking the path between the truck and the default box with 6 barrier orb, and then holding angles on the other entry points, such as the far right side near Showers, and Lamps. Sentinels don't actually put a player inside of Lamps to hold it, instead clearing it using Shazam's Hunter's Fury, which picks up a kill onto Relics, and forces Vice to back out. I think this is a really clever play from Sentinels, because they still clear Lamps, however they don't take the risk of placing a player inside of Lamps where they could be peeked and killed. Instead they hold defensive angles outside of Lamps and force the enemy to either come through a different point of the site or push them where they have the defensive angles set up. This pays off in the end for Sentinels, as Vice decides to re-push Lamps after falling away from the Hunter's Fury, in an attempt to kill Sick, who had just planted the bomb. Vice checks up short, and must not have seen Shazam, as Shazam then picks up a kill while Vice's back is turned. While this is happening, Shinobi and Tens attempt to push the only other entrance onto the front of the site, near Showers. They pick up a kill onto Sinatra in the process, however Sick and Dapper have a really good crossfire held, and manage to easily pick up kills on both Shinobi and Tens to trade Sinatra out. I think the really interesting aspect of this round is the way that Sentinels effectively cut the whole site in half, only holding the front half of the site and leaving Cloud9 to the back half. They didn't even use that much utility to do this. They used the barrier orb to block the wider entrance onto the site next to Truck, and then Shazam's ultimate to clear out Lamps. But other than that, it was just good positioning and holding the correct angles to prevent Cloud9 from coming through the entrances that were left for them. Again, this round win doesn't fully destroy Cloud9's economy, with all players being able to full buy except Vice. Like I say, it doesn't force Cloud9 to eco just yet, however another round loss for them would really put them in a difficult situation, and would see the economy strength turn into Sentinel's favour. Round 8 is the next pivotal round in this match, in my opinion. If Sentinels win, it forces Cloud9 to eco the next round, and begins to secure Sentinel's own economy. The same is true for Cloud9. This round is huge for both teams' economy, and will likely dictate how the rest of the first half will go. Round 8 begins with Sentinels in a 2-3 split around A Short and Showers. They used a recon dart to ensure no one was waiting in showers before sending 3 players in. Shazam and Dapper then looked to push up A short and spot TENS waiting on site opposite the teleporter, and their recon dart spots Shinobi in the cubby just outside of lamps. This gives a good indication to Sentinels that the area of sight directly outside of showers is completely clear, with the other defenders being over towards the lamps and A short area of the site. Dapper hears TENS activate his ultimate on Raze, and quickly activates his cyber cage that he'd placed up A short to obscure his vision, which actually results in TENS effectively wasting his ultimate. With all this action going on up A short, Sentinels know that they can try and split the site vertically from outside of showers. Sentinels do this by using Sage's barrier orb to block off the area between showers and the L-shaped box on site. This stops defenders from coming from the A short and teleporter area of the site, and forces them to come all the way around from lamps. They also use Zoms' smokes to block off Heaven and Metal to prevent any rotating defenders from seeing them. In an attempt to counteract this push by Sentinels, TENS decides to get aggressive out of lamps and tries to pick up a kill. He does this by pushing out towards short, peeking up short, spotting 2 Sentinels players, and then for some reason turning his back on them and dying for free. This is a big misplay by TENS for me, because he could have easily and safely rotated out of lamps and grouped up with his team to retake the site. Instead, he decided to get aggressive on his own and died for free. It's bad enough dying and leaving your team a man down when you're one of the best players on the team, but dying for completely no reason, and when it could have been avoided, is completely inexcusable. By this point, the rest of Cloud9's defenders have rotated over and are bunched up in the back part of site and in Heaven. Some of their attention is drawn to knock the wall down, and Sinatra takes his opportunity to get aggressive, flashing out of a smoke and picking up a kill onto Vice. He dies after this, but for me it's a worthwhile trade, as it leaves Sentinels in a 4v2 after Zoms picked up a kill onto Mitch in Heaven, and Sinatra got info that Relix was also in Heaven, as this is where he died from. Now that Sentinels are in a 4 vs 2, all they need to do is show good discipline and hold angles and not get aggressive where there is no need to, and only peek when the defenders are going to defuse the bomb which was planted in the default position. Unfortunately, Sentinels do not do this. Relix sends an orbital strike up short, and Shazam almost makes it out alive, but because he wasn't quite full health, he didn't make it out. Luckily, just before then he managed to send out a recon dart to assist his teammates to allow them to know the positions of the defenders. Zoms must have missed this call as he decides to dry peek out of showers before letting the dart give him information, which would have picked up Shinobi, who he got killed by. Dapper does make up for this somewhat by picking up a kill onto Relix from short. This is where there is another misplay by Sentinels in my opinion. Zoms just got killed in showers by Shinobi, already a misplay, but why is Sick not swinging out of position next to showers to trade Zoms' death? Especially as it seemed as though Shinobi wasn't aware that he was holding that angle either, because as it happened, Shinobi was able to get back into cover, check to make sure Dapper wasn't pushing out of lamps, and then re-push Sick and get the kill, even though Sick was holding the angle. I think Sentinels need to be more coordinated and clinical in this respect. Maybe there was a lack of communication. I don't know. Because of this misplay though, Sentinels had to rely on a 3 health Dapper to push a full health Shinobi, already halfway through the defuse, on the spike. Luckily for Sentinels, Dapper does manage to clutch this round, but it's really sloppy from them. There was at least 1 or maybe even 2 avoidable deaths here. As a result of this round, Cloud9 do eco next round, buying Frenzies and Sheriffs, but because of the sloppy deaths, not all of Sentinels could fall by either, just showing that teams must remain disciplined at all times, otherwise it could come back to bite them. In the end, this string of round wins really does a lot to help Sentinels' flailing economy, and helps them turn around the first half of this match. In the first 6 rounds, Sentinels won only 1 round, losing the other 5. Conversely, in the second 6 rounds of the first half, they won 5, losing 1. This good work managing their economy really set them up to be successful closing out this first half, and the momentum they picked up with their performances really helped Sentinels to victory, with them ultimately winning 13-11 in what was in the end quite a scrappy game, and winning the series 3-1 to take home first place in this tournament.